Warning, as I've stated in just my last video, parts of this video as well are against the rules of RuneScape, and all of this can get you permanently banned. But all of the bugs actually used in this video were tipped off to Jagex prior in hopes that they would patch them before a massive amount of people got to them and used them for malicious intent. Other than that though, don't try this at home. This is all just for testing purposes and to see what is truly possible to accomplish in this game. Have you all ever wondered what it would be like to actually get quest points past what you would believe are max quest points on a level 3 and do quests on a level 3 that aren't supposed to be possible? Also, while getting some cool untradeable items that all level 3s don't currently have? Well, me too. So that's why I went into a deep dive while on the sidelines of making my last episode on a Defense Pier saga and came across some achievements as well on level 3s that I will put between the episodes of this series. This video will be a little bit more casual, but once again, it's going to cover things that weren't even touched on in my last episode. And of course, this is not an episode of a Defense Pier saga. This is something entirely different. But once again, it's me going for the impossible and me not really caring what the outcome is going to be. And when I say not really caring, I mean, once again, I'm going to be using throwaway accounts just to see if something is possible. And once again, these accounts will be getting the perm ban, but those bans were at a much later date and time, so we were still able to complete this entire video. And that will actually be sort of a part 2 to this video because there are even more quests and items I managed to achieve on a level 3 later on. But first, don't you want to hear my beautiful voice in high quality? Well, you can easily do that with Raycon earbuds. Raycon is currently breaking into the industry by offering their earbuds at around half the price of other premium quality earbud brands. Whenever I'm in bed at night, I like using these things to fall asleep to some, hypnosis, some binaural beats to boost my brain power. Now I like to use these when I sleep because first of all, the audio quality is superb. I can pick up all those little bits and pieces of that brain boosting power from those beautiful binaural beats. As well, these things are wireless, meaning I won't be wrapped around with cords all around my neck, possibly asphyxiating myself while I'm sleeping. And lastly, because these things are comfortable as hell. Well, actually, I should say heaven. I wake up miraculously with these still in my ears and no massive headaches. This brand of earbuds is also used by celebrities such as Snoop Dogg, so who knows, maybe that's why he's such a genius as well. And lastly, if you're not satisfied, Raycon has a 45-day free return policy, so you really have nothing to lose. So what are you waiting for? Boost your brain by going to the description box or by going to buyraycon.com/Rendi to get 15% off your Raycon purchase. So I had filmed this warning before the giant shit show and all the stuff that went down on Reddit and as well as Jagex's homepage. Just for the record, I never crashed worlds with intent to dupe in real world trade like they blamed me and Mauler to do so over the entire course of the last year. Accounts were not banned as they stated for this over the entire course of the last year. Almost all of Mauler's accounts were banned. I would say 46 of them right after the video in a chain linked to his email. I don't know how else to say that. We did not do all of the malicious things that they said we did. I don't know why they said we did. I don't want to make assumptions here, so I'm gonna leave it at that. I'll link Mauler's post or response post in the description below. But anyways, like I said, we only do this for fun. We do this for things like today. You'll see me getting cool items on a level 3 for a trophy account for useless purposes. So it kind of all blows my mind. But I will live this down to my grave because I know the truth at the end of the day. And ironically, what they also said in the post, actually there was something in the middle there that said we don't ban people for glitches that are malicious, and like that matches up exactly with what I said in my last video. I was expecting possibly a ban at some point. I knew the risks. I wasn't expecting for my friends' accounts to all get chain banned and then a blatant misconception or a lie being posted on a massive website. But anyways, I'm going to end that statement there and let's get into the video. Alright, so let's get back to reality, RuneScape, and I want to go ahead and first talk about my first endeavor and first quest I wanted to complete on a level 3, and this was, ironically, Shades of Mort'ton. This quest is extremely easy for anyone doing it normally, but for me, on a level 3 that gets kicked out at any point in time in Morytania whenever I get into it, well, it's not going to be a breeze. And all of this was still done when the scrying pool still worked, so I was able to once again go through a scrying pool in a player-owned house, interface walk with nulled red clicks, and get into Morytania. The problem though, once again, was the failsafes such as Abador Crane and Vampire spawning and kicking us back out. So we had to overcome these failsafes once again, but in a different way while trying to complete this quest. Like I had covered in my last video, there was a way to get 1 tick of clearance by going all the way to the western map square, then interface walking all the way back to the area of the actual quest while avoiding all melee NPC damage. Now this was very hard because the area that Shades of Mort'ton is in has shades everywhere, it has all those ugly looking people roaming around everywhere. And anytime one of those bad boys hits me, I'll get instantly thrown back to the beginning of Priest Imperial Temple because it will break my only interface and my only tick of clearance I had. So I really needed a better method than having to run all the way west and then all the way back east, avoiding all of these NPCs that are throughout this entire quest. So what did I do? Well, I found one. If you look back at my Barrow's Gloves video from around September of 2019, there was a weird stackable interface I had found with the Fire Warrior inside of Temple of Ikov quest whenever using a cannon. The cannon would try to attempt to actually tag this NPC over and over again if you had this NPC trapped, making a seemingly endless interface. Even though it did not technically stack up on itself, it would always be there and cover its last use. So by using this interface, running to the house portal, then by scrying, then by unscrying, it would automatically throw us with 1 extra tick of clearance rather than having to run all the way west with this new Fire Lord text. But this wasn't even the best part. Not only did we not have to run all the way west, we no longer would get kicked out by NPCs meleeing us, and therefore it was a lot easier to deal with that 1 free tick of clearance whenever we would need it. So the irony of doing this Shades of Mort'ton quest this certain way is that I would need the 42 Thieving Wreck from Temple of Ikov on my level 3. But luckily, we would never have to kill the Temple of Ikov NPC, so the range requirement of this quest wouldn't be necessary and I could remain level 3. The route was that I would go and set up my cannon inside this room, and then I would try to trap this NPC while it was moving around still in a sort of way that the cannon would always try to aim at this NPC. I did this with 3 other accounts, luring it over to this rock while setting the cannon in a specific location, then by moving another account behind the Fire Lord, but not too far behind him so he can still walk freely and so he does not despawn, because if an NPC has been left in the same location for more than 5 minutes, he will despawn, and therefore the stackable interfaces from the cannon there won't actually take effect. After setting the cannon up and positioning all of my accounts in order to do just this, I would then teleport over to another player's player-owned house who has the requirement for Barrow's teleports in order to then use his portal nexus and time the exact second the cannon rotated on my other screen with the pull up of the dialogue of the nexus, stalling the cannon to take the next rotation, and therefore once I was in the scry as well as interfaced, the cannon would be ready to actually pull up those Fire Warrior prompts. Alright, so now I was inside of Morytania with the scry walk through the portal and with these Fire Warrior prompts directly pulled up afterwards, and now all these melee NPCs could not send me back to the Priest Imperial quest start because they would not collapse interface whenever they were in combat with me. So what did I have to do from here? Well, I would just have to figure out how to do all of the quest in 1 singular tick, that 1 tick of clearance I previously mentioned. May I remind you that these accounts are just test accounts and they were banned. Don't do this at home because it will get you banned. But anyways, I would use a custom built packet client in order to overcome many of the steps in this quest, and I would even have to write certain forms of actual code in order to execute step-by-step portions of the quest in very ironic and really weird ways. In my last video, I covered the traps and how nulled red click actions basically allow you to move freely if you put an interface behind them. So we would write this one form of code here by allowing for a nulled drop item anywhere in the game that wasn't even there in our field of view, and then an interface stacking right after it without a tick of clearance, as well as a follow player command inside of this script. So I would be able to constantly follow a player, as well as constantly attempt to click something that wasn't there, as well as constantly interface while moving freely, as long as I controlled this account with my other account that was running in front of it. Now, this wasn't actually following the player, it was attempting to follow the player every tick by right-clicking the follow option. With the interface, it wouldn't be technically possible to just follow someone, as this makes you not move. So once again, every single tick, I'm red-clicking something that doesn't exist, I'm also pulling up an interface, and I'm red-clicking my character to tag the location I want to move to. This is what this script was built for, and how I moved around for most of this quest. But it really gets even worse than this in the technicalities that I would have to write inside of this packet client. Because, well, we realized something important. You can only do 9 actions in a singular tick. This even means that you can go through 9 dialogues in a singular tick, and pretty much every NPC dialogue inside of this quest is less than 9 dialogues long, meaning theoretically, this quest would be possible to actually go and talk to these NPCs in a singular tick by running through a script such as this, where it queues all of the dialogues in a certain order and writing the script correctly for each of the steps inside of the quest. So as you can see in this example, I was able to set up my cannon at the Fire Lord. Keep in mind my cannon only has a 25-minute runtime before it's out, so all of this was really against the timer. Then I would go into the POH, I would follow my account all the way to the location of the quest start, then I would unscribe from the Fire Lord, and then I would attempt to run a script that goes through dialogues of quests and NPCs all in a singular tick to complete that step of the quest before getting kicked out back to the Priest Imperiled quest start. So this was all fine and dandy for a while. It took me a lot of attempts going through player-owned homes, setting up my cannon, and then writing scripts to actually go through 9 dialogues in a tick for the first steps of this quest, but we really got it done. And at first, this quest was looking like it could definitely be completed. That is until, well, I had to kill 5 shades. The tracking of shades in this area was area-based, and if I killed a shade outside of the map square, well, it wouldn't count. Weirdly enough, I was also required to do the last hit of damage. So I had to actually get in there and try and attack these shades, and unfortunately they had some very weird mechanics that were basically, well, if I'm not attacking for long enough, it's just gonna go stray off and do nothing, then possibly, attack someone else, or just wander off, then a new shade would come to me again. So I could never really kill one of these shades. So what I did is I found a corner of the map that still allowed for the kill count during this quest of killing these shades, and I got as much attack bonus on as possible in order to hope that I could one-hit this shade as soon as I got the 1 tick of clearance from the Fire Lord before getting kicked out of the Priest Imperiled area. This was done by having an alt account actually go in and lure the shade over with splashes, then continuously having to splash this NPC because it became randomly unaggressive at times, and try and recoil this NPC down to exactly 1 health before getting my other account over there, clearing the area with yet another account so no other shades attack me and assume my combat because it's not multi-combat, then attempt to attack the shade with 1 HP, and attempt to hit the shade with a 1 with my very low stats. Even while super combat potted, this seemed to take many attempts, many setups of cannon, and many frustrating efforts.
You can attack it now. You can attack it now. Go, just fucking get it, man. What?
Oh
Are you
my god.
You fucking kidding
Right as
me?
I released it, dude, it went into shade. Oh my god, dude.
Bites from fucking.
Don't kill that one behind us. Don't kill that one. That one's also low HP. But you can kill that one right there on me. Wait, no, not that one. No, no, no. Zero. I got it. No.
Ah! Oh my god. Nice.
Fucking zero, dude.
Bro, this is so annoying. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yes.
Thank fucking god. Thank god. Oh my god.
Alright, it counted too.
Thank god. Thank fuck the. Bro, I'm gone. Fuck this.
So there were even a lot more failures than what I just showed you right here. This process was extremely frustrating. Finally though, after playing around 5 accounts simultaneously while trying to lure the Fire Lord, while trying to go through the player-owned house, while trying to scrywalk, while trying to get these NPCs aggressive all the time, while splashing them without them running off and not getting de-aggroed, as well as recoiling them, eating, make sure I'm not dying, then pulling my account over, attempting to actually hit once before getting kicked out the Priest in Peril. This was all finally accomplished. After many hours, I'd say like 12 hours, we finally got this done, and I was able to progress to the next step in the quest, having killed 5 shades. Big shout out to Mauler though for helping me kill some of these, and I hope he did not end up having a stroke. I'm supposed to next hand my shade kills into this NPC and show him that I killed these shades. Well, the simple solution to that was to actually just go buy these shade remains out of the GE, and as long as my kill count was registered before, he would look past the point of me actually needing to bring him the original 5 items I was able to acquire. But after completing what I thought would be the hardest step in this quest, I was very wrong, because the next part was even, well, worse, and that was repairing the temple or killing the shades to get 10% sanctity in order to actually make my sacred oil here and provide it to the next NPC for the next step in the quest. So why was repairing this temple so hard? Well, for one, every time you left the area that the temple was in, your sanctity would reset to 0%, meaning you really didn't even have a possibility of doing this unless it was all in one go. And what did we say earlier? Well, we only had 1 tick of clearance, so there were really only 2 options. We could kill around 5 shades for 10% sanctity, but once again, we only have 1 tick of clearance, meaning we could only kill one of these shades, not all 5. The same went for building the temple. To get your sanctity to 10% in order to actually make the sacred oil, you have to repair this temple many times over, even with a bracelet and much more equipped. And not only this, we couldn't even make 1 attempt at actually repairing the temple because it took actually 2 ticks, not 1 tick, to register the action long enough to put up our sanctity and repair the walls. I even tried some really unorthodox methods of getting through red clicks without getting kicked out, such as going into full invincibility and invisibility mode with the bug I found I briefly mentioned in my last video, in order to repeat actions such as killing some of these shades without getting kicked out, But as it turned out in the end, no matter what you did, if you used a hard action, it would not prioritize over the area effect queue of coming up with Abador Crane kicking you out. So even though I could be invisible and invincible to any other normal ordinary NPC, this effect was area specific, and the hard action that we would use in order to kill maybe 5 of these shades or repair this wall would not be enough to actually prevent us from getting kicked out entirely. So I had worked on and off on this for many months, and we were stuck for many more months. That is, until the mushroom effect you saw in my last episode. I've seen many of you suspecting that only me and Mauler's Hardcore Iron Man were the only ones to get through the entire Shroom Priest and Peril quest null. Well, that is where you're wrong. You might remember my surveillance video of Varrock. If you know me, I hold more than one computer with quite a bit of processing power. My fucking living room looks like a massive RuneScape laboratory. Therefore, I was able to do this process on many more accounts before this update, and therefore, I had several accounts technically with 1 prayer and Priest and Peril completed. A couple of these accounts got banned before they actually even got through the entire process, but some made it out. For now. So if you don't know about the mushroom and how exactly I nulled prayer XP, well, it's going to take me an hour again to explain it, so I would just refer you back to my last video on my channel because that goes into a very in-depth detail of how it was performed and how it used probably over 10 different bugs in order to get that prayer XP nulled, along with timing all of this with a system update. So what would I do now? Well, I would take one of the successful accounts that made it through, and I would scrap this one here that's already made it through most of Shades of Mort'ton and through parts of even Temple of Ikov, and I would just be able to complete that entire quest like a normal person, except for the part where you know I had to recoil many of these shades, as well as sneak my way in as fast as possible into the world that actually has this minigame activity and get the hell out of there in order to get that 10% sanctity and that sacred oil. Lastly, I would just have to sacrifice a little bit of prayer XP in order to burn the shade, but I would still remain 1 prayer and thus 3 combat on this account. And there you have it, the very first level 3 to actually ever complete Shades of Mort'ton quest. But I was not done here. I wanted to complete more quests, and therefore I looked into Creature of Fenkenstrain and even parts of Ghost Ahoy, because I also wanted some cool gear that no other level 3 in the game had that was untradeable at that time. I had attempted to already do parts of Creature of Fenkenstrain on my last account before finding the mushroom glitch. This was done by actually being able to separate the dialogues of the first NPC and even pick up the pickled brain off the table in less than 1 tick. Therefore, I was able to get to maybe step 2 or 3 in this quest, which involved the parts of climbing up and down stairs, which would get me kicked out. And from there, I realized the only way to get this done was with that mushroom glitch, and that's when I used this level 3 in order to start moving around freely through this entire area of Morytania, including the parts of Creature of Fenkenstrain. I went about this quest as normal. I recoiled down the experiment, which really has never been done on a level 3 either, and well, I was able to actually complete this entire quest. And why this is actually necessary is because to do parts of the next quest I wanted to do, which is Ghost Ahoy, I would need this ring from Creature of Fenkenstrain. As well, I would then need to get my farming level up quite a bit through planting trees in player-owned homes in order to do Garden of Tranquility quest up until the point whenever you get the Enchanted Ring of Karos. This was actually specifically required for my route to be able to get to the end of Ghost Ahoy quest on my level 3, as I would now only have to sacrifice 10 Ecto tokens instead of 25 without the ring. Now this was important because the only way to get Ecto tokens is to actually sacrifice prayer XP at the altar and sacrifice bones. I did this with normal bones to actually mitigate as much XP as possible, but even this with the 10 Ecto tokens was cutting it close on top of the 25 prayer XP I earlier accepted inside of Shades of Mort'ton quest. Now I needed these Ecto tokens in order to pay the captain who would take me then to an island to find the Book of Harakanto. And God forbid if I had forgotten a spade at this point in the quest and already paid these Ecto tokens, well then the entire account would have been ruined and I could never actually get that enchanted Ghostbeak amulet at the end of Ghost Ahoy, much less even get back to Dragontooth Island. So this was a one-way trip, but definitely a good enough sacrifice for an amulet that has never been achieved on a level 3. To first get this though, I would also have to kill this lobster, which I found out was terrible because it had a despawn timer relatively quick. This was bad because this spawn timer made me have to guess if I was going to waste XP or not, because recoiling this sometimes would not be fast enough depending on if the NPC actually hit me enough. And if I had hit this NPC too early and it despawned, well, I would waste combat XP, and on a level 3 that's not really optimal. So after defeating this lobster and getting a little bit of prayer XP, I was finally able to get that beautiful blue enchanted ghost speak amulet. But I was not done just yet. I also wanted to get the blessed silver sickle from Nature Spirit. Luckily, to get this item, I did not have to go far enough into the quest to actually kill the ghast, or else I would definitely be too prayer, as these ghasts reward 30 XP per kill. But at the end of the day, I got the silver sickle as well, and this account was already one of a kind. But there was one last thing I wanted to do to finish off this entire video, and to get the last of the items I wanted to acquire on this level 3 in this region, and that was a coffin of every kind. Before, you could get coffins by going to the Western Morytania map square, unscrying, then getting that free tick of clearance by talking to the NPC that gives you the coffin, and that also gives you the locks onto the coffin. Or you could also use the Fire Lord in order to just unscry from there and run to the guy who gives you these coffins. Luckily, all these chat dialogues with this guy, even the one to get the coffin and to put the locks on the coffins, were actually less than 9 dialogues, meaning I could do all of these in one tick with a packet client. But I would not need any of that because now I could free walk into Morytania with the actual quest Priest in Peril once again already completed. But there was still one issue. The issue was you can't actually get more than one coffin at a singular time. This NPC won't, well, let you get more than one coffin, and I wanted every single coffin I could get, especially on this unique level 3. So what did I do now? Well, I would need to find a way to force drop the first coffin in order to go and grab a new one without the NPC recognizing that I already have it in my bank or that it is already in my inventory. And that's going to be kind of hard because this coffin has a destroy option. But never fear, there is always a solution in my book, and I'll be damned if I don't get every single one of these beautiful coffins on my back. There are some items that protect over other items in the game, such as this pebble from the waterfall quest. Technically, I can go and get this pebble on a level 3, although I have to get through part of the quest to do this. I didn't really want to do this, so instead I found another item that was 100 times better, which doesn't require any quests at all to be started to actually put this item in your inventory, and that is the key from the plant pot in Witch's house. I could just go and grab as many of those keys as possible, then equip up to 3 items and then kill myself, and then any of the 3 items I equipped would go into my inventory, as well as the keys would already appear in my inventory because they are always kept on death. Therefore, the items that went onto my inventory overrided the coffin that was in my inventory and dropped that coffin straight to the ground. This was technically a force drop, and this coffin would last on the ground for up to an hour. So I would just repeat the process, go get a new lock and a new coffin every time, then kill myself with this force drop method, allowing all the coffins to appear on the floor, and once I had gotten the final color of coffin I desired, I would go back and pick up all these coffins. So there you have it. This is a very unique level 3 account, and unfortunately, like I said, it didn't last. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Once again, if you subscribe to the channel, it really helps me out, and I even have a Patreon. So thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you next time, actually on the next episode of A Defense Pier Saga. Peace out.